Welcome to How to Live Younger. My name is MariaFanelli. I'm a mindfulness, stress management, and mind-body health educator. And most of the people I know want to have a good quality of life. And I think if people could have a high quality of life and remain active and healthy with their memory intact, they would want to live longer as well. You may even know some people who are much older and still loving life and looking really good. You may also know some people who are relatively young and seem much older for their age. So let's take a look at this aging process. Why we age, how this happens, and also how recent science shows we can reverse some of this aging and live younger. First, some basic biological facts. We all learn in grade school that our bodies are made of cells. Right? Trillions and trillions of cells. We have cells in our hair, our skin, our organs, our immune system, our gut, our fingernails. They're everywhere. And in the middle of each cell is a nucleus, which you can think of as the little control center. And inside the nucleus are our precious chromosomes, which contain our DNA and our genes that determine our biological makeup. What color hair we're going to have, our height, our skin color, and all of our physical characteristics. And every second, our cells are dividing, and when they divide, they create a replica of the current cell. And they do this to either help us grow or repair tissue, or to just replace old cells. And different parts of the body regenerate at different rates. So everything that is inside the cell duplicates into the new cell. However, the problem is that every time our chromosomes within the cell replicate, they get a little shorter. In order to keep them safe when they divide, our chromosomes have little tips to protect them from getting damaged. But when the chromosomes duplicate due to the cell splitting, these protective tips get shorter and shorter and shorter and more worn down. And they can cause damage to our DNA, and it could cause the cell to stop dividing, and it could even cause abnormal division, which can lead to some potentially dangerous consequences, such as cancer. So these protective tips are really important, and we want to make sure these protective tips, called telomeres, stay in good shape and don't shorten too much or get damaged. So let's briefly go over this again, right? I know it was a lot. In summary, our cells duplicate all the time to help us grow, replace old cells, and provide repair. Cell aging, cell abnormalities, or cell death happen when our cells can no longer duplicate in a healthy way. So we want the cells to live as long and healthy as possible so we can stay as young and as healthy as possible. And in order to keep duplicating, it is critical that the telomeres stay in good shape. So you might be asking, well, what exactly are these telomeres? Telomeres are often compared to those protective coverings on the end of a shoelace. So every time a chromosome divides, those little tips on the end of the chromosome, called the telomere, get shorter. And like a shoelace tip, over time they can get damaged or frayed. To give you an example of this aging process timeline, when we are first conceived, right, we're still in the mother's womb, our tips are made of approximately 15,000 bases, which are these repeated sequences of DNA. But by the time we're born, it's estimated that we're already down to 10,000 bases. As we age and lose telomeres, we start to notice slower recovery time with injuries. We have more sickness, loss of muscle, loss of memory, and when we're getting close to dying, it's estimated that we are down to 5,000 bases. So we really have about 5,000 bases to work with throughout our life. And now science is showing that they can actually predict our mortality just by measuring our telomere length. In other words, they can predict when we're going to die. Okay, so that is like really depressing. But wait, all is not lost. Now some good news. Science has also discovered this enzyme called telomerase that actually helps lengthen or to regrow the telomeres. So even though we lose some of our telomere tips when the cell divides, this enzyme, telomerase, helps the telomere rebuild, thus preserving our chromosomes, preventing aging, and some promising research has shown it can even dramatically reverse aging. In one study with mice, not only did they show the mice reverse aging and their organs and tissues bounce back to good health, they even showed they gained brain and memory functioning. So let's talk about how we can create telomerase to prevent and reverse premature aging of our cells. And here are some top recommendations from Elizabeth Blackburn, who won the Nobel Prize on her research, and Elisa Epel, who is a leading researcher in telomeres, as well as aging and stress. The number one thing you can do is to reduce persistent or intense stress. So stress influences premature aging, but what's really interesting about stress is that it doesn't necessarily have to be a stressful event. Many times stress comes just from our thoughts about stress. And many times we're thinking about stressful thoughts over and over and over again. And you may even notice that when you're thinking about stressful things, you're feeling stressed in your body, even though the actual stressful event is not happening right now. So stressful thoughts, negative thoughts, rumination can cause us to feel stressed, and stress has been shown to shorten telomeres. One of the most evidence-based, meaning scientifically proven, recommendations for reducing stress is a regular mindfulness meditation practice. It is great if you can take a course in mindfulness, but if you can't take one right now, here is a short practice you can do throughout the day. This is called 10 breaths. All right, so it sounds simple enough. It's a great practice to help you refocus, and all you do is you bring your attention to feeling the in-breath flowing into the body, and then focus on the out-breath leaving the body. And at the end of the out-breath, count 1. Then wait for the next breath, you're just breathing normally, and on the out-breath of that one, count 2. And you do this for 10 breaths, which should only take a little over a minute or so. So let's do 3 breaths together right now, okay? Close your eyes or keep a soft gaze. Take in a nice deeper breath and let it release. And now just feel the body breathing. Soften any tension or tightness. And when you are ready, feel the next inhale coming into the body, and then feel the exhale leaving the body. And at the end of the exhale, count 1. And then do 2 more breaths. So that was a 10 breaths practice to help you refocus. And research has shown that people who refocus more on what they're actually currently doing have longer telomeres, and people who mind wander have shorter telomeres. So if you find yourself thinking about other things, perhaps future events or things that happened in the past, or doing unnecessary multitasking, either do the 10 breaths practice or just bring your attention to feeling a few breaths, maybe 3 breaths. Coming into and out of the body. Soften the body. Then refocus the attention where you want it to be. Research has shown that being focused on the present moment, which is what is actually happening right now, rather than being lost in our thoughts, slowed cellular aging. You can also do these practices for 5, 10, 20 minutes or more, and that would be a formal meditation practice. Just focusing on feeling the breath. And when you notice thoughts, you just gently bring the attention back to feeling the breath again, over and over. Inhale, exhale. These practices can really help you to stay more present during the day and to reduce your stress reactivity. In addition to stress reduction, some other recommendations to increase telomerase are to be active. Exercise reduces oxidative stress and inflammation, but they recommend not overdoing it, not being a weekend warrior, which can cause more stress to the body. People who exercise regularly have been shown to live longer and have a lower risk of high blood pressure, stroke, cardiovascular disease, depression, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and also they avoid dementia longer. Another suggestion is to get good quality sleep. Poor quality sleep and not enough sleep has been linked to shorter telomeres. And research has shown that less than 7 hours of sleep starts to affect the telomeres. So unless you're one of those rare people who need very little sleep, get the amount of sleep you need. And many people need 8 or 9 hours. Surprisingly, weight is not linked to telomere length, but metabolic health is. Metabolic health is a package of risk factors that include belly fat, abnormal cholesterol levels, high blood pressure, and insulin resistance. A combination of some of these can lead to metabolic syndrome. The key is to focus on eating nutritious foods and being more physically active. Eat lots of fresh, nutrient-rich vegetables and fruit every day. Drink lots of water and try to avoid sugar, processed foods, processed flours, and unhealthy fats as much as you can. In my experience, a regular mindfulness practice can help with all of these areas. It can help you get better rest, help you make dietary changes, help you work through resistance with exercise, and help you manage stress. All of which we learn help to lengthen your telomeres. So let's live younger and live longer by lengthening our telomeres. If you'd like to read more about this topic, you may want to check out the book, The Telomere Effect. It's a great book and goes into this topic in more depth. If you'd like more videos, education, tips on mindfulness, stress management, mind-body health, and information on upcoming online courses, please be sure to sign up for my updates at www.MariaFanelli.com, where you can also find some other related free videos. Thanks so much for tuning in. Take care. Bye-bye.